The hard part is for my daughter to ask me about these certain scars, but I don't lie to her. You know, I tell her I have told her that yes, dad wasn't a good man.
Man, listen.
Let's get after it and make today a win.
Rock thunder so hard yesterday, you can still hear it rolling today.
My wins for yesterday were
big win for us yesterday was, so my win yesterday was,
these things are like sweet.
Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ready.
Super ready.
Born to be ready.
Born to be ready. All right. Listen, Gordon, as Larry Wilson would say. How you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. A little tired from my late night hyper work, but doing pretty good this morning.
Yeah. You worked what? You started at midnight last night?
11.
11?
7:30 this morning.
Our 9 o'clock Zoom, since we started this about 6 months ago. You know, we talk about wins, and it kind of brings everybody together as a company. A lot of people that don't get to see each other all the time because you guys are all in different jobs on a day-to-day basis. I want to get your insight on that. What do you think that does for you being on those Zooms and getting to see everybody and hear their wins?
It really brings everybody together. Like you said, we're all in different work sites and stuff like that, and it's cool to see guys that I've met when I first entered the company that I haven't seen in a while. I see him on the Zoom, and I was like, "Oh, the guy's still around," you know, doing good, and it helps motivate, especially when times are kind of getting hard on the job site. You see the guys out there busting their butt too, doing the same work you're doing, and it's really good to hear the guys' wins,
Right.
and for you to go back and think of your wins, and you're like, hey, you're on the winning side too. You got wins yourself,
Mm-hmm.
And when I bring out my wins, it helps me to go through my day knowing that I had a win,
Right.
that my day wasn't in vain,
Mm-hmm.
that I the work effort that I put in did bring out a win, some type of win, some type.
Right. And for some people, even though, we talk about wins is, somebody could be having a bad day. They had something that they took from home to work and their day's going crap. They're in their head, they're in their emotions. And then all of a sudden they get on the Zoom and they start hearing positive testimonies, positive wins, everything like that. I think for me personally, seeing that, it really brings everybody together as a collective, and you could help inspire somebody that's having a bad morning or whatever the case is, and just really pull them out of that mindset, that they're struggling with, whether it be personal or work. They could be around a bunch of other trades that just keep getting in their way and keep slowing them down from being able to be productive and do what they need to do. And then you talk about wins, and some people I see, they go, well, I don't know if I had a win yesterday. And then they start thinking about it, and it makes them think about what was your win,
Yeah.
and then they realize that they did have a win. They woke up, they were able to finish their day out strong, and one thing that I try to do on this podcast too is not only talk about wins, but some people don't focus on the wins. They get stuck in their mind thinking about all the struggles and everything that they went through, and they get stuck in those moments and let those interfere their mind from thinking about the successes, the wins, the positive outcomes, and I've known you for, I think, 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years?
Cheers.
And you were in mine and John's vocational program.
Yes.
And I saw you, man, and you were one person that stood out to me, that just you would jump in, and you remind me a lot of Isaiah because you were very quiet, you asked questions, but you were very interested in learning and becoming a better individual, and just you really wanted to learn the paint industry. And what was that like for you at that time?
At the time, yeah, I was in a rehabilitation program,
Hmm.
and I had my family with me at the time as well, my daughter and her. And when they told us about the vocational thing, we had already known the program was starting to minimize and, that it was coming to an end. And so we were already thinking about what we need to do to get on our feet and stabilize our family to live outside of the program. So I took it upon myself to take this vocational class. And I'm gonna tell you what, from the get go, I was kind of intimidated by all painting has for you to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I was, especially with the rig and things, just uh, everything's so detailed in painting. But when you get into the function of it all, it's not. But yeah, just following through the steps, the footsteps of the learning process. It all fell into play, and I love it. It's a passion for me. I dream paint, I eat paint, I sleep paint. That's all it is. There's just my truck's full of paint tools.
Yeah.
I got paint everywhere. It's just everything's paint for me,
Right.
and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know everything about the paint industry, but it's just the fact of learning. It's a never learning thing. The learning process never stops.
Right.
There's always something to learn. And PHP has so many wonderful employees to work with, and I have fun. I have
Right.
fun. It's a lot of hard work, but I enjoy hard work.
Right. And so if we take a step back, and if you don't mind, what was your life like before you got into the vocational program? Like, because me and you have talked before, and you've told me a little bit about your story. And if you can, just elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure.
What got you there? Because, like I said, we talk about what the win is, but what was something that you went through that got you to that point? And then let's talk about all the successes that you've had from that point on.
So, me and my lady, we're from the state of New Mexico, the Pueblo Laguna. We were living out in Albuquerque, and we're messed up on alcohol and drugs. I was just being so selfish. We didn't have no direction in our lives, and so we had a vulture in a hotel we were staying in at, and the vulture was coming up to an end, and she was actually looking for a rehab place for a friend of ours, but the people that she called, we ended up taking advantage of it. She's like, we're in Phoenix, so you're welcome to come. And it was just that one of those times that we knew that this was the step we had to take to get out of our funk. And so we did. We just packed up. All I had was a bag of clothes. I was living out on the streets, here and there, and just that's all I had. And so not knowing where we were gonna end up, who we were gonna meet, um, we were just we didn't know what we were stepping into.
That's got to be scary.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know she was scared,
Mm-hmm.
and but to me, just being sober and knowing that there was some type of program that we can enter, uh, that wasn't at our expense, really, really dug into me deep.
And keep you and your family
And
together at
keep
the same
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
That's huge.
Yes. And so we gave it all we got. We gave it all we got, and the program that we got through. Like being sober was only half of it. Mental issues were still in place. And so that separated me and my lady for the majority of our rehab,
Right.
rehabilitation. But just pushing through the first couple of years by myself, yeah, it was hard because I wanted to be there with her, with my kid,
Mm-hmm.
and but I needed to be alone to get to where I am.
Right.
I needed that time alone to set things into place for myself. Because if I didn't, it would have just been for them, and it would have been I wouldn't have got nowhere.
Right.
I wouldn't have got nowhere. So, but it was a critical time for me, especially healing. Of course, I wanted to be around my child.
And not to interrupt you, but I respect you as a man for doing that. because, I have 3 teenage boys, and a wife of 15 years, and I could only imagine, what that would feel like. Um, it just I commend you for that, man, and was also at a time in my addiction, and fortunately for me, I was able to get clean and get my life together before the kids started coming, per se. Um, but I commend you for that. That's huge, man. And I know what it's like, to have to try and get your life together, but you can't get it together for multiple people at one time. You got to focus on yourself at some point in time, and you got to get a little bit selfish, and to get the great outcome, and that's huge.
Yeah. You know, the chance to get in line with my spiritual self as well,
Mhm.
and that's where I draw all my strength from now, is just being spiritual and having that one-on-one with my creator, Lord Jesus Christ,
Right.
and I know I'm like I said before, I'm Native American, but I was grown to believe and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, and so that popped into place as well when I was by myself, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. That
Yeah.
that's where I get, that's my source of power.
And
Struggle.
knowing, for you being Native, and I bet it was also a big struggle because a lot of your family, that's something that, a lot of natives struggle with, right?
Yeah, it's like living in two different worlds.
Mhm.
They expect you to know things, but I wasn't brought up that way. And it's so but and it's hard. It's kind of hard when I go back home and I want to see some of my friends and family, and but I don't know nothing about the culture.
Mm.
And so I guess in a way, for me as of this day, it's not really a big thing for me not to go home.
Right.
Yeah. But I do uh respect it,
Right.
and so but I've learned to know myself and what my spirituality is and where it comes from.
And you also have boundaries now,
Yes.
because you've trained your mind
My
to understand, hey, I'm in a bad place right now. I got to get myself out of this situation,
That's right.
you know?
And that's on a everyday basis, that I have to remind myself, where that's gonna get you. If you act some type of way, it's gonna reflect.
Mhm.
So a lot of things I've learned to woosah. I learned to settle down, Gordon. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal, dude.
Mhm.
So it's like I said, sobering up was just only the beginning of it.
Right.
You had to retrain your thinking process, in everything.
Mhm.
And so and some things pop up into play and remind me that, hey, you are once here. Don't go back there. Because uh, I've been I've been through a lot, you know, and I've got scars to prove this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those scars pop up into play to say, hey, you're not that personal.
Mhm.
You're not. You never. Well, the hard part is for my daughter to ask me about these certain scars, and but I don't lie to her. I tell her, I have told her that, yes, dad wasn't a good man.
Right.
But her and her mom, uh, you guys, you guys get to um enjoy the real me, Gordon
Mhm.
Romero. Not the buddy, not the G, the people knew me back home. No, this is the real Gordon Romero, the one that was brought into this earth to uh, bring forth production, man.
Right.
And I like it. I love it every day. I mean, work is work. It don't get easy,
Yeah.
but I love to get up in the morning, while actually in the nighttime, and and say, "Hey, man, let's get it." And you guys are the ones that introduced me to beast mode,
Mhm.
and I've carried that with me ever since the vocational class. And that's what I don't punch in on the clock. I punch in a beast mode.
Right.
and I don't quit till
All gas, no brakes.
yep, all gas.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it because I could go home and I could just think of what was done and what has to be done.
And I think the good thing, and I understand that feeling because, it's you go in with a clear mindset, and you put everything you have into that day and to everything that's in front of you, and when you walk away from that day, and understand that you respect yourself for putting everything in that you could rather than get home and go, man, I really could have done a lot more, and I think that's a lot of the things that come from being sober too. It's, you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to be 100% invested into what you want to get out of life in general and everything and anything that you do. And whether it's work, whether it's your spiritual mindset, like you said, believing in your higher power, you can't be half in and half out, and you got to put 100% in. And a lot of the people that fall backwards is because they weren't putting it 100% in.
Right.
And
they left that door open.
yep, exactly. And for you, being, because we hired you in the vocational program, but because of your situation that you were in with your wife and your daughter, you couldn't come to work for us right away. So you actually went somewhere else and worked, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked at a laundromat for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Brought up my hustle, hustled me up a vehicle, an apartment. Went to another job, driving a forklift, and that's one thing about being sober is these jobs that I did. I mean, I did. They were the best jobs to get a come up on,
But it was a stepping stone.
but it was and I noticed my work ethic was the work ethic I used to want, especially with the guys when you brought them to the vocational program, the guys that you presented, the workers there. I thought I want to be that guy. What does it take to be these guys to sit up there,
Right.
But when I seen that in my steps of an employment, being a good employee, I started realizing, hey man, that's you. You're doing it, And it didn't take anybody to say this to me, but for me to see it for myself.
Right.
To see the value of who I really am, of what I can do and what I'm capable of doing, And at that time, I was working at the flooring place driving the forklift. Dude, I had to teach myself how to work that thing. And I did it. Gordon did it.
Yeah.
So when I started having problems there, I was like, hey man, I got a chance to re-up with this whatever I got.
Right.
This magnificent whatever's working inside
Mhm.
me. So that's when I called you. And I remember that day I called you. I asked you, I said, Greg, you think you can refer me to somebody I can work for? And you're like, oh, hell no, man. You're coming working for us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said.
Yep.
And when you told me that, I was like, I already felt wanted.
Mhm.
I've never felt it wanted by anything. Ever since my teenage days and stuff, I wasn't really much of an outgoer, I was always in the back, clowning around, kind of shy, but I didn't really have anything stable for my, how would you say, my, the way I look at myself.
Right.
But now I do. And I remember it all because I was sober.
Because you love yourself now.
And because I love myself.
You trust yourself.
I trust myself.
I
know that my decision making
Mm-hmm.
is something that won't ever get me in trouble again, because like I said, I've made many mistakes,
Right.
but that's not the Gordon that I see in the mirror. I can look in the mirror. Before, I never used to look in the mirror because I didn't like that person. Nobody, I can honestly say nobody did like that person. But it doesn't matter to me if anybody doesn't like me or not, because I like what I'm doing. I like what I'm producing for PHP,
Mhm.
I like the quality. I like the work. I like painting.
Yeah.
I love painting, you know, and these qualities were very foggy for me beforehand,
But they're very clear now.
but they're very clear now, you know. And I know if I were to make a mistake, a bad choice, I can always look back and try to fix it because now I'm a problem solver.
Right.
I don't add to my problems no more. I solve them, and that's what sobriety has done for me. That's
I think the good thing for you and everybody else within our company, you know, everybody has a past, but your past is not what defines the person you are today,
yeah,
you know, and you can't think that way. And the good thing for the dynamic of people that we have working for us, you know, we all have a past and not all of them are the same, but at the end of the day, everybody that you surround yourself within this company on every single job, all are fighting for the same goals. And that's a better life. That's to become a better person. So you have an accountability partner, you know, throughout the whole entire company, you know, and we all look out for each other. And me and John have created such a family oriented business with everybody that, you know, everybody is a phone call away. And like you said, you called me and I said, no, you're coming here. You've called me on other occasions too with different situations. And I won't get into that, but I was there for you. I was able to talk to you, you know, and that's what we need, you know? Everybody needs somebody to talk to every once in a while, whether it's just venting or getting some advice because you're going through things in your life right now that you might not have ever gone through before, you know? And when it's like painting, if you put 10 people in a room that have 20 years of experience, look at how many years that is. You know, that's a lot of years of experience. Now, if we ever come across a problem, we put that problem on the table. I guarantee you we're going to solve that problem, right? Because of the amount of experience. When you have everybody in the company that all comes from the somewhat of the same background, some of the same problems, some of the same life issues, and you have people that have been through the things that you're going through right now, whether it's good or bad, right? But you have people that you can talk to, people that are going to be there for you, people that are going to give you the right advice, you know, not somebody that has never been through it before, but they're going to give you the advice that they've never been through. So that's false information. It's not valid, you know, and I think that's really good.
right. Yeah. So for me, like I'm still going through my steps of the man that I want to be, you
Right.
know, and so giving advice, I would rather give suggestions, you
Mhm.
know, but telling my testimony, it's a it's a it's a crucial testimony, you
Right.
know, and so that's where I'm at now, is trying to help others, telling them, hey, look where I came from, you know. Just like with the young man that I went to go talk to the other day, you know,
Mhm.
the young Native American man, and so telling him my testimony kind of also brought something out of me too the other day, and that's it. It kind of gave me a position to tell my testimony. That's one of my purposes,
Right.
you know, because maybe my struggle is just the same as somebody else's. Well, you never know. Um, uh, Maybe their struggle ain't so bad as mine, but when they hear mine, they're like, "Oh wow, you know, if he did it, I can do it too." You
And that was one of the big reasons why when me and John started this vocational program, it was, you know, bringing back the members that had already graduated and were succeeding. You know, like you said, you saw those people standing up there with me and John, and you said, I want to be that. I want to be that person. How did they get there? What did they do? And me and John can stand in front of 100 people and we could talk until we're blue in the face. But when you see somebody that actually graduated that program that you're in and hear their testimony of success, their wins, and how they got there, and it was by following the recipe, you know, and that recipe was just how to be a good person. It wasn't just about painting. It was about how to be a good person, how to be a good individual, how to take direction because we've always been a problem child. I'm not listening to you. You're not telling me what to do.
know?
But it was teaching them how to take direction and understand the direction that they were being given
Right.
and how to be a good employee, and
Coachable.
coachable.
Yeah.
Exactly. And be humble at that moment, and I think that was one of the crucial factors that we had, teaching those vocational programs was giving everybody on the opposite side of the table that insight, and when they saw that there was a chance
Right.
at that moment
Right.
to do something different, to make a better life for themselves. And I think that was real crucial,
Yes, and that did stand out, and that's why, like I told you before, that when I saw the guys, I was like, I want to be that.
hmm
And the thing about it was that the question was how long is it going to take?
Right. Because that's the problem. Everybody wants everything right now,
Yeah,
but they don't realize that, it takes a lot of baby steps, a lot of baby steps. And some get it fast, some get it slow. But when you try to fast track those things, it's like, I don't know if you ever remember me talking in the class, and it was, me starting out in the field as a painter, and moving up to part owner of this company. If I would have jumped from a painter in the field to being a business owner, I would have never been able to be successful as an owner of this business because I had to go through all the different steps. I had to, as a painter in the field, to a crew leader, to a superintendent, to a project manager for years, in each position, and then to a business owner. And I'm still learning. But if I would have jumped from the bottom to the top, I would have failed miserably.
Right.
And it's just like in life. When you want a house, you want a nice car, you want all these things that a lot of people have never had, you can't just jump into those things because you're not ready for that.
Right.
You're not ready for that big car payment. You're not ready for that house mortgage. It's like you started with working at a laundromat and then you went to a warehouse and now you're here, and I see a lot of growth in you since I first met you at this vocational class. And you just keep growing and growing and growing and getting better and better and better. But you're not reaching far. You're reaching for the things that are within your,
I reach.
well, yes, thank you, within your reach, and that is, as long as you continue to go down that path, you're going to continue to be successful,
Right.
you know?
Well, one thing's for sure is that through this journey, this road to recovery that I'm on, is that I've implemented it to myself that I'm not going to give up.
hmm
I'm not. It's not in my vocabulary, and giving up. It's not a choice.
Right.
It's not a decision. I'm not going to give up. My daughter, she heard me one day. I was talking to John. We were talking about that, saying not giving up. And she reminded me one day, I was having a bad day and I was almost falling into tears, I had my head down, and she told me straight out, Dad, your boss said it yourself. You don't give up.
hmm
You don't give up, Dad. And I was like, if my 7-year-old kid can tell me that, then you're never going to give up.
Right.
And she's never going to give up because now she's learning these things just by watching her old man grow. I'm growing with my child. I can say that.
Right.
Just by watching her, and I am so blessed to have cut all my crap out when I did, because now I got the glory of seeing my daughter growing up,
hmm
not foggy or faded or miserable. I can like I'm experiencing her, and I'm experiencing myself through it. I'm learning through all this with her, being a better person, being a better parent, a father, husband, employee. These are all things that I've learned to hold myself accountable for, because I know that I've set the bar high for myself now.
Right.
And I'm going to continue to let it get higher, because I want to be better. I want to be a better person, father, employee. I want to just keep going till the wheels fall off. And I will, I know I got it in me. I mean, like, my dad had it in him. I always used to wonder how my dad, sometimes it didn't even seem like that man slept. when I was growing up. And I was right along with him because I went everywhere my dad went, whether it was hauling wood, hunting, fishing, whatever. It was way late in the wee hours of the night too.
Yeah.
So when I'm out working, like last night, working at the wee hours of the night, I put those memories into play to say, hey, you know what? You've done this kind of work when you were a kid. You can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's funny. So we've talked a lot about the past. So what's your big win in life right now?
My biggest win is just being here, being alive. There's times in my past that I shouldn't be sitting here today, Greg. And that's on many occasions that I could have left, left this world. But it's not my time. I don't have no say so in that. So with that said, I got work to do. And that's my biggest win is being able to work on something, work on anything, work on myself, do painting, just make something productive each and every day. Make it count. I don't think there's been a day since I've been with PHP that the day hasn't counted for me. I got purpose now. I got reason. I got a trade. I've gone through my years living, doing odd jobs here and there, not really having a trade. You know what? I got certified in the boom and scissor lift in the vocational class. I got skill,
Right.
and nobody can take that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere I go, I'll have a job. All I gotta do is just display how I display here. Boom, I'm set. But I'm gonna tell you like this: there's no way in heck you're gonna get rid of me either.
You're not going anywhere.
Nope.
You're not going anywhere.
I love PHP. I love the camaraderie. Like you said, there's guys that on my job site that we have similar backgrounds, and I just love the way we all come together and we help each other. And it's like my life's in your hands. You can put your life in my hands. Let's do this, guys. Let's get it done. I love that we all care for one another. PHP is full with a lot of people with big heart.
Right.
A lot of people that have been hurt. And I think that's why we all click together. It's because we built strength from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing my mom always told me is that us as human beings, we all draw strength from one. We're not here to tear each other down. We're here to build each other up.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that.
100%.
Yep.
100%. Well, I appreciate you a lot. And again, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be with me forever.
Yep.
So thank you so much. And thank you for letting me hear your story.
Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate it.
All right.
So let's hear your win so we can all celebrate together. Like, subscribe, and follow. See you next time.
We're going to talk about these wins, man. Listen, my win was just relaxing, kicking back. Got to chop it up with my little brother, man. We got to hang out a little bit. He relaxed at the house. He don't really hang out with me no more. I do too much for him.
My win is, once again, all of you guys for...
Wait, hold on, Timmy.
Uh-oh.
I need beast mode.
Beast mode. Hold on. Just a second. Hey, listen, we're out here painting this Sam's Club, man. We're getting some stuff primed. We're laying some tape down so we don't get paint on stuff. You know what we do, man. We're killing it. Let's go.
Getting ready to rock and roll. Bring forth the motivation. Hype up the team out there. Let's get it, guys. Yeah! I already gave him a shit.